All right, we are recording.
Very good.
Today we are talking about the Hyrox Zone 2 or Station 2, which is the Sled Push, which is one of the stations that I think is one of the coolest because it's kind of what separates. It's what makes Hyrox a little bit different because it takes a lot of strength. The sleds are actually like decently heavy. It's not just like a super lightweight that you can just slide across the floor, especially for the pros. But even for the open waves, you have to have a decent amount of weight, decent amount of strength to be able to push that weight. So you can't just be like strictly a runner or endurance athlete. You also have to have a good amount of strength. So yeah, that's what I really like about Hyrox is you have to have both. I mean, it is mostly endurance and running and everything, but you definitely have to have both. And the sled is what I think shows that the most because it's just so heavy.
Yeah, it's true. It's much heavier than any of the zones in DECA or similar competitions. So it definitely takes a lot more strength. And because it takes more strength and because the weights are heavy and with the friction on the carpets and everything, it will really fry your legs on a race that already fries your legs between the running and the wall balls and the lunges and the burpees and then the push and pull also. So yeah, it's a tough zone.
Yeah, they were pretty that was pretty mean of them to put it so early on in the race because at that point you're still fresh. You've only done the ski erg and some running. So you're pretty fresh. You've got those, the excitement and adrenaline going. So it's easy to just like blow your legs up on the sled. It's easy to do even if you're not in a race. But especially with under those conditions, like if you push just a little bit too farther than you should, and that lactic acid really builds up, you just set yourself back a lot and you've got a lot of race to go. So it's so important to practice the sled, one, so you can build up the strength for it, but more importantly even is to learn how to pace and know when to stop, take a little bit of a break, how long of a break, just get to know what your body's capable of, so that you can pace out really well. And even so, both of the Hyrox events that I've done, New York and Dallas, people were passing me on the sled, and that gets into your head, while you're taking a break, they're still pushing. But I ended up finishing ahead of a lot of those people, not all of them, but a lot of them. So you just have to stick to your plan, know what you're capable of, and stick to that.
Yep. Yeah, very true. The grip on those sleds is a little different than some other ones. There's a bunch of different types of sleds out there. Their sled's a pretty normal sled, but then you have like the Prowler sled that has a much wider gap between the handles, and that's the one that I practice on. So when we're talking about like the grip or when you're pushing the sled, some people use the fully extended arm grip. Some people have it with their hands on the bars and their elbows tucked into their sides so the bars are right up at their shoulders. And then the most common one that like the top athletes use is having their hands low down on their bars and their shoulders up on the bars, pushing it. That seems to be the best way.
They actually don't have their shoulders on the bars.
Well, yeah, right, just underneath their shoulders.
Through the bars. Their shoulders are through the bars, and then their forearms, the leverage is coming from their forearms and their hands. But like in a pulling motion versus pushing. Your arms, your upper body is pulling while your legs are pushing.
Yeah. So that grip takes practice because no one just does that normally. In fact, before Hyrox, I'd never seen anyone push a sled that way. So that takes practice. If you have a sled that has the normal kind of grip spread that the sleds at Hyrox do, then you can practice that, and that's a great idea. You should practice that. I only have access to like Prowler sleds when I can do sled pushes, so I have to use the grip with my hands by my shoulders and my elbows tucked in. So it's a little less ideal, and I don't want to try the hands low on the sled in a race. So hopefully one day I'll get to use a sled that's similar and practice that. But the grip matters. It matters a lot. I think fully extended arms is the least good of the three options because all of that weight is on your arms too then. And so you're taking a lot more stress, you're just stressing yourself more than you need to. So I would suggest either hands in by your shoulders, elbows tucked in, or the hands low down on the bar like most of the pros are doing these days.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we're going to get to practice it at the end of March at the DC. We're doing doubles, so.
Yeah, do I want to take that opportunity to practice it?
Might as well. If you're not able to
Okay.
do it any other time, it's not like we've done doubles before or anything, so.
That's true. I can just like watch a few videos on it and get a good idea. It won't be as good as it's worth a try then.
Yep.
What about but
I mean, I think the priority is being able to run well in the shoes that you choose. So I wouldn't choose shoes based just on the sled, because the shoes that are best for the sled probably aren't best for running. So I mean, you just need to make sure you have good grip on your shoes. Don't wear an old, worn out pair of shoes that are going to fall apart. That's the main thing I could say. But you're not going to choose your shoes based on the sled. You're going to choose it on running, essentially.
Yeah, like for example, this was the shoe I wore, and these black grips all tore off on the sled push. They were tearing off as I was pushing it, and then eventually they tore off completely. Some of these are still flopping around and loose. So yeah, shoes matter. Those are Sauconys. I can't remember. Trail, no, they're not trails. I can't remember, speed something maybe. But anyway, I don't know why the grip tore on those. I don't know if it's just like a flaw with that shoe or if that's a common thing that happens to other people. I haven't seen anything about it that people have spoken about, but it happened to me. The grips tore off the bottom and made it harder to push. But just something to keep in mind with your shoes. And maybe it was just that pair and not the model itself. I have no idea. Just something that can happen.
Yep. So some good exercises to help train for the sled, besides obviously doing the sled. I think some of the better ones are going to be barbell squats, where you're just working the quads, hamstrings, and glutes, getting some heavy weight there. I would do a variety, some heavier weight, lower rep sets, but then also do some lower weight, higher rep sets as well, shorter breaks, just so you can get experience building up the lactic acid. That'll help make your legs stronger for that pushing. And then another really good one is weighted step-ups. You can just hold the dumbbells by your sides, but stepping up on the box, because then you're getting that push with the leg on the box, and then you're also pushing off with the leg that's on the ground. Gets the calves going a little bit there as well. And you're also kind of mimicking what you do on the sled, because when you're pushing a sled, your upper body is engaged. Everything tightens and restricts, so you're not getting as much airflow. Your core is going to tighten a lot. So, I mean, barbell squats do the same thing, but the step-ups will also kind of mimic that a little bit. So those are my two favorite exercises to help train for the sled push without just doing the sled push.
Yep. Those are obviously very good ones. I would add heavy weighted lunges and Bulgarian split squats with the most weight you can do safely for like 10 to 12 reps probably. And I know you mentioned it before, but like pacing is a big thing. So even if you are strong enough to push the sled down one full length, you may not want to do that. You may want to pace it out and do half length or quarter length, take a quick breath, push again so you don't completely fry your legs. And I know, like myself, I just want to get it done. So I just want to push through as fast as I can, but it's not worth the fatigue and the stress you're building up for later in the race. It will slow you down a lot.
Yep, that's for sure. All right, well, there we go, guys. That's the sled push, the Hyrox sled push. Everybody knows it. It's definitely not the least favorite zone. We know that by the survey we had people take. You can check that out in our articles. Burpee broad jumps, I think, was the least favorite.
I think so, yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely one that, really tests people and humbles them a little bit. And then, but yeah, it's a good one. So thanks for watching, guys. Put in the work, practice, so that you are ready for the sled push in your next Hyrox event.
Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll have videos talking about each station in Hyrox, Deca, and tons of other material. So subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.
All right. See ya.